This is Leonardo Zambrino, an Italian chef who works for Da Vittorio, which is regarded as one of the best Italian restaurants in the world. Located in northern Italy, it holds 3 Michelin stars. Chef Leonardo is from Massa e Carrara in Tuscany, Italy, but he's currently the executive chef of Da Vittorio Shanghai, which has 2 Michelin stars itself. He's going to show us how to make
Carbonara, black pepper.
carbonara, but instead of following the traditional pasta recipe, he's going to make it a bit more interesting, utilizing a rare Eastern delicacy.
And then we give our, of course, Italian touch.
This is the Drunken Sommelier. Consider subscribing.
Fish maw alla carbonara. The fish maw is one of the most, let's say, rare ingredients in China, one of the most, let's say, special. For those who don't know, the fish maw is the bladder of the fish. In Italian is a vescica natatoria, okay? So the one that blows to let the fish swim in a deeper sea or surfaces, right? Because a lot of people, what they do is they take one ingredient, they put in an Italian recipe, I know, and they pretend it works. But it's not the case. It's not always the case. So you need to have a proper knowledge of the product, a proper knowledge of the recipe, and then you can play around it and make sure that what you're doing makes sense. And these fish maw are dried for 10 years from the yellow crocker. And then we cook braised using Parmesan and pecorino water, because we are cooking alla carbonara, with some as well mirepoix, so carrots, onion, celery, a little bit of spicy sausage from Italy, ventricina, bouquet garni, obviously. We add as well, this is what. And then we will finish the dish with the foam of guanciale and white truffle, to have together all the ingredients of the carbonara. And also there will be egg yolk puree at the end. I will show you step by step. This is what? And let's cook the fish maw. We start with olive oil in the pan, and we cook our vegetables. This is a mirepoix of onion, carrots, celery, and we try to stay generous with the olive oil, okay? No need to fry, they need to cook slowly without taking any color. And this always is the base for such a kind of stew or ragu. So we want to maintain the same way of cooking. Then we add, at halfway cooking, we add a bit of ventricina, okay? This will give a little bit of spiciness, a little bit of extra flavor, or extra kick. And then we press and we make sure that all the oil, all the fats are coming out and cooked together with the mirepoix of vegetables.
Where does the olive oil come from?
Olive oil, we have many different olive oil here in Da Vittorio. We use normally from Abruzzo, Puglia, also some as well from Liguria. We have different olive oil for different preparation. For the cooking, I prefer something that is not too aromatic, too strong, because I don't want it to change the flavors of the dish at the end. So we try to have the mildest one for the cooking. Okay.
Which region has the best olive oil in Italy?
It's a good question. Yeah, I would say that the olive oil from Liguria is very well known and famous. I have to say that also there are many other places like central of Italy, Abruzzo or Puglia or even Sicily that are doing amazing olive oils. So it's like asking where is the best wine from, right? It's a very wide question. I like olive oil from Liguria or from Sicily because one is a bit more spicy, the other one is a bit more mild, and goes well with many different preparations. Yeah. All right. So now we are going to have another the step where we start adding the fish maw. Okay. And now what we need to do is we need to raise the temperature because we need to deglaze with white wine. So the temperature need to raise a little bit. And as you can see, the fish maw here start to already attach a little bit at the pot. This is what also give the good flavor. So first we don't need to burn it, but we need to have a little bit of extra flavors, and then using a liquid we're going to collect all these, soupe de cuisson, as they say in France. Now we are ready to deglaze with white wine. And this is the proper sound, right? Now we can move back to the stove and make sure that we collect all the flavors from the bottom of the casserole. And when the wine is completely evaporated, we start adding the Parmesan and pecorino water. Not too much, otherwise the fish maw will be boiled. What we want to give is a braised texture, right? So slowly, we add the water. I mean, I wish you could, smell already. We have this mix between the ventricina, so this is spicy salami from south of Italy, and then already as soon as you put the Parmesan pecorino water, we have this, this marriage between the two flavors, which is, amazing already at the smell. So now what we are doing is making sure that the level of the liquid is always, like this, like if we were cooking a risotto. So we always need to braise slowly. We are going to add the bouquet garni, okay, for extra flavors, a bit of stock, and then we let it cook for around 30 to 35 minutes. It depends, on the texture of the fish maw. We give it, first of all, a bit of pepper, when it starts to cook, and a pinch of salt. Okay, not too much, because we're going to reduce. And this water, this cheese water is already very flavorful, so we don't want to, have the fish maw over seasoned, too salty. So voila. And now we just be patient and see you in 35 minutes. I used to play football. I used to love sports. So for me, in my life, I would have been a sportsman. Right? In my mind, there was no goal of being a chef. But then, things change, and you realize that, life is not as childhood dream are beautiful, but it's not the reality. So around when I was 18, I started switching my vision and started thinking the possibility of really, interpreting this culinary path. And my favorite team is doing well because it's AC Milan. But obviously I was not playing AC Milan. I was not good enough. But childhood dreams are always important. Next year I'm gonna be 10 years in China. I worked in David Vittorio first in 2012 in Italy. And after that I moved to Paris. And after in 2016 I moved to Asia. I did Hong Kong, Macau, and now Shanghai. But so far, if I have to, let's say, do a classment of the city I've lived in, I would definitely, Shanghai would be the first place. There is a comfort of life in Shanghai, in China, at a cost that is very low. I mean, the same comfort of life you want to have it in Paris, it will cost you 10 times what it costs here. Or Milan too. Yeah, it was a struggle at the beginning because the language is a barrier, and then here is a lot of like through the phone, WeChat, Alipay, and mostly is in Chinese, but then you get used to, and it becomes quite easy.
How many cooks?
Here in David Vittorio,
Yeah.
we are 38 now.
Okay. How is it like managing that?
Funky. Let's say that I have a great team of sous chefs. So 5. So after 35 minutes of cooking, we obtain this texture, okay, and we add some beans as well. Now what we're going to do, we are going to do the mantecatura. Okay, in Italian, mantecatura is creating the emulsion between the fat and the liquid. In order to have something that is creamy and would lose itself in the plate. So what we're going to do, when the temperature is high but not too boiling, we remove from the fire. We add some pecorino cheese. Okay, not too much. And then we mix, and we obtain a nice and creamy texture. Okay. This is what we were looking for. Hot, smoky, but not, not something split, not something too heavy, but something rich in flavors, in cremosity, and so on. Yeah, we're ready to plate. Prepare the foam. As you were saying before, fish maw alla carbonara. So carbonara calls egg yolk. Okay, so we have this egg yolk puree of confit or egg yolk, and we're gonna place at the end at the base of the dish. You know, the texture seems a bit firm, but this is what we want because after with the heat of the fish maw and you know, because it's quite creamy, you know, the balance will be perfect. So we're gonna add the fish maw on top of it, making sure that together with the fish maw, you also take a little bit of liquid, you know, of the mantecatura, so the cheese, the fat of the fish maw that are, you know, emulsifying together. And then we finish with the foam of guanciale, because it's the cheek of the pork cheek used for the carbonara is the guanciale. So basically we heat up the guanciale in a pot together with garlic, and then we add some cream. Okay, we let it cook, let it reduce the consistency we find proper, and then we just blend, and you know, the proteins of the caseina, of all the fat and liquid present in the cream, make that you have naturally bubbles. So we leave a hole in the middle so the guests can see what they're having. And then carbonara, black pepper. So black pepper mignonette. Really want the guests to feel. And then we give our, of course, Italian touch with the white truffle.
Piemontese.
Piemontese. Buon appetito.
If you're gonna diet tomorrow, what are you eating tonight?
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, just one thing.
That's
Be instinctual, right?
no, because I've never thought of dying tomorrow. But
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I think that something that bring back to my childhood memory, you know, and I honestly would be happy with a well done lasagna. Yeah, proper lasagna bolognese. I think that would be the most comfort dish that I would had on my last day on this planet, right? Yeah, I would go for it. I would go for lasagna. Yeah.
Consider subscribing.